Shalom, children. Our story begins today with Moshe, who is speaking with all the Israelite community about the things that Yahweh told him on the mountain. He needed to gather all the materials to make Yahweh's tent of appointment, so he asked the people to give whatever their hearts wanted to give. Have you ever felt really happy after you gave something nice to someone you love? Well, many of the people of Israel must have been jumping for joy, because the Bible tells us that they gave Yahweh everything he needed for his house. Do you think they were excited that Yahweh was going to come and live with them? Yahweh wanted many different items to build his special place. Let's see. There was gold, silver, and bronze. The women helped by bringing piles and piles of their jewelry, their rings, earrings, nose rings, and necklaces. Then there was the fine linen, and the thread in the 3 royal colors, red, blue, and purple. This was to decorate the beautiful curtains and veils. There was the coverings that came from animals like goat's hair, woolly ram skins dyed red, and fine sturdy leather. And do you remember what kind of wood Yahweh wanted to build the walls and all the furniture with? Yes, it was with acacia wood. Yahweh wanted the wooden items to be overlaid with gold and some with bronze. Another thing that was important was pure olive oil. This was to keep the lampstand burning. All kinds of spices for the anointing oil and for the sweet incense that was to be burned on the altar inside the set-apart place. And then there were the gemstones. These were to be set in the high priest's shoulder garments and breastplates. Jewels are so beautiful, aren't they? And these must have been big, shiny, sparkly ones. The rulers among the people may have brought most of these, because gems are rare and very expensive. Let's look at what they use the gold, silver, and bronze metals for. The boards of the dwelling place were overlaid with gold, as well as the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, and the altar of incense. And did you know that the 7-branch lampstand, the lid of atonement, and its cherubim were solid gold? The utensils for the lampstand and the table of showbread were also made from gold. Silver was used to make the hooks and the bands on the columns in the courtyard, as well as the sockets of silver that the boards rested on. Bronze was used to make the big wash basin and its stand, the utensils for the altar, and the altar for burnt offering was overlaid with bronze. The basin was made from bronze mirrors. Then there were the sockets on the columns, and just think of all the bronze tent pegs they needed to hold down the dwelling place and the large courtyard all around it. Wow, that's a lot of metal. Now let's meet 2 amazing men who had a huge part in making all of this. Their names are Bezalel and Oholiab, and they were appointed to oversee all the work. It was Bezalel and Oholiab who collected all the gifts the people brought to make the set-apart place. When they had received more than enough, Moshe had to send word through the camp, telling the people to stop bringing any more contributions. Now, do you think that these 2 overseers did all the work themselves? No, those who wanted to help all came to work. The scriptures say that Yahweh had given talent and skill to many of the children of Israel. These 2 men and their helpers made all the furniture, the Ark of the Witness, with its golden lid of atonement, and the cherubim, and its rings and poles. For the set-apart place they made the table for the showbread, the lampstand, and the altar of incense. They made the rings and the poles to carry them too, and all of their utensils. They made the courtyard and its screens, along with the altar of burnt offering, the bronze basin and the stand. Is your head swimming from thinking about all these parts of the dwelling place? Yahweh wants us to know that each part is important. Finally, they made the clothing for the high priest, with the robe, turban, breastplate, and shoulder pieces set with gemstones. The dwelling place was all finished, and it was exactly the way Yahweh had shown Moshe. Yahweh's heart was so filled with love and joy that he had Moshe speak a special blessing over the people. If we give Yahweh our best with a generous heart, just like the children of Israel did, he will give us a bigger blessing than the temporary dwelling place. We will get to live in his forever kingdom with him. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Now Yahweh's house had different areas in it, just like your house. You have a kitchen for cooking, a living room with comfy places to sit, and maybe even a yard for throwing a frisbee or kicking a ball. The dwelling place of Yahweh had 3 areas where he wanted special things done that would honor him as Elohim. The first area was the most set-apart place. Only one piece of furniture would go in there. Can you remember what it was? The Ark of the Witness and the tablets that Yahweh wrote on. It was like a throne for the mighty one of Israel, so Moshe was told to set up the ark first and to hide it behind the inner veil. The second area was the set-apart place. Moshe had to set up 3 pieces of furniture: the golden altar of incense and its utensils, the table of showbread with its dishes and utensils, and the golden lampstand with its 7 lamps and its utensils. In front of these furniture pieces was the outer veil. The third area would be the courtyard. Moshe was told to place the bronze wash basin, the bronze altar where the sacrifices were to be done, and its utensils. Moshe then had to anoint everything with the wonderful smelling anointing oil, to mark each piece as set apart only for the service of Yahweh. Finally, he was to set apart Aaron and his sons to be priests to Yahweh. They were washed, dressed, and had the oil poured over them. Now the work was all done, but one thing was missing: the presence of Yahweh. There, over the dwelling place, appeared a bright cloud. It billowed out until it covered the tent of appointment and flooded the whole dwelling place with Yahweh's brilliant splendor. It was so awesome that Moshe couldn't even go in there. Later, that bright cloud became a tall pillar, stretching way up into the sky. When it got dark at night, it turned into a blazing column of fire. Whenever the cloud lifted up from the dwelling place, that was Yahweh's sign for them to pack up and move on. They had to follow the cloud until it stopped somewhere and set up the dwelling place all over again. The Israelites would never know how long they would stay at one particular camp. They had to be ready to pack up and go when the cloud moved. The scriptures tell us we don't know what a day might bring. Yahweh is in control, and we must follow and obey in every detail just as Moshe did. Well, children, that is the end of our story for today, and the end of our journey through the book of Shemot. So we will see you next time for another exciting Torah portion. Shalom.